Female prisoner never wore makeup, yet she was the most beautiful woman in the prison. In a prison where men and women were housed together, every time the woman walked by, she attracted the attention of countless male inmates, but no one dared approach her, because the seemingly mentally unstable woman was actually just deliberately pretending. The newly arrived prisoner didn't understand her power yet. He reached out to touch the woman's chin, but his fingers were immediately snapped in half, until one new prisoner, so scared he wet his pants, made her stop what she was doing. At this point, a crowd of prisoners had gathered, watching the spectacle. The old prisoners began telling the young ones that this woman, in just 3 years, had transformed from an innocent young girl into an unbeatable fighter in the prison. Anyone who dared touch her was seeking their own death. But the woman knew well that no matter how strong she was in prison, it didn't matter. As long as she couldn't get out, she couldn't take revenge on her stepmother and stepsister who had framed her. For years, she had been pretending to be mad and foolish, just to find the opportunity to escape and get back home to seek revenge. At that moment, a helicopter landed, bringing down a powerful CEO. He was looking for someone to replace his sister. He noticed the woman who was pretending to be crazy. She was the only one who dared to look him in the eyes for so long. Without hesitation, he chose her and took her with him. The prisoners in the jail were puzzled. With the woman's skills, she could easily protect herself, yet she was easily taken away by the CEO. Only the woman's trusted aides knew that she had been wanting to leave the place for a long time, and she was very smart, knowing that the CEO who took her was not an ordinary person. After leaving the prison, the CEO kept her in his mansion. She learned from the maid that the CEO had ruthless methods. The driver, just for accidentally stepping on the brake, had been punished and turned into a cripple. To force an elderly man to give up his power, the CEO even used a gun. After the job was done, he imprisoned the old man at home, never to leave. When the woman heard this, she understood that the CEO was not someone to be taken lightly. She began planning to escape from this horrible place, but when she played around too much, she accidentally threw herself out. At that moment, the CEO happened to walk in and caught her in his arms. The woman was shocked that the CEO didn't immediately throw her off. Then, the CEO scolded the two maids for not taking good care of her, and immediately fired them. As his sister's replacement, she must not be allowed to get hurt. Listening to the CEO and his assistant's conversation, the woman guessed that the CEO probably wanted to take her as his lover. Just as she thought, the CEO told her that she would be his wife from now on, then informed her that he was going to take a shower, and that he would need her after. The woman was worried that the CEO might harm her, so she immediately thought of escaping. But there were many bodyguards in the mansion, and she had no way to flee. When the CEO came out of the shower, she continued pretending to be mentally unstable. Unexpectedly, the CEO pushed her onto the bed. She had already prepared herself mentally, but instead, the CEO handed her a towel and asked her to help dry his hair, teaching her the proper way to do it, and warning her that if she made a mistake, he would chop off her fingers. Hearing the CEO's harsh words, the woman instinctively thought he was a pervert. But just moments ago, the CEO gently called her sister. She then realized that the CEO wanted her to replace his sister, not to be his lover. Fortunately, she was only replacing his sister. Then, the CEO lay on her arm, asking her to lull him to sleep, so he could reminisce about his sister's love when he was 9. And so, the CEO lay in her arms and fell asleep, dreaming of his sister, who had died to protect him when she was still very young. Suddenly, the CEO woke up from a nightmare, and looking at the woman beside him, he immediately felt something stir inside him. Suppressing his emotions, he quickly left the room. The woman then seized the opportunity to slip out of the mansion, and returned home to seek revenge on her stepmother and stepsister's family.